When comparing niacin with its newer counterparts NR and NMN, one of the central questions is whether the complexity of designer precursors translates into better pharmacokinetics, or whether the simpler, time-tested niacin still holds hidden advantages in terms of bioavailability, metabolic efficiency, and tissue NAD restoration. While each compound ultimately raises NAD levels, their absorption, conversion, and tissue-specific dynamics differ markedly. Niacin, nicotinic acid, has near-complete intestinal absorption when taken orally, with plasma levels rising predictably, depending on dose. Once in the bloodstream, it directly engages the Price-Handler pathway, requiring only a single phosphorylation step to NAMN via NAPRT, then conversion through two well-defined enzymatic steps to NAD. This direct route imposes minimal metabolic burden, as it doesn't depend on prior transformation into other intermediates. Additionally, niacin is small, stable, and does not require specialized transporters. Passive diffusion and simple facilitated transport suffice. The result is robust systemic NAD synthesis, especially in the liver, where NAPRD expression is high, and a well-characterized pharmacokinetic profile that scales linearly with dosing. In contrast, NR and NMN follow more complex and less universally efficient pathways. NR's bioavailability depends on intestinal NR kinases, NRKs, to phosphorylate it to NMN before further conversion to NAD. But NRKs are expressed variably across tissues and individuals, introducing uncertainty in NR's conversion rates. Studies show oral NR has modest to variable bioavailability, with some NR deamidated to nicotinamide or nicotinic acid before uptake, potentially reducing NR-specific efficacy. NMN, although one step closer to NAD than NR, faces its own bottleneck. Whether it can cross cell membranes intact is debated. Some research suggests NMN must first be broken down extracellularly to NR or nicotinamide before entering cells, while other studies propose direct transport via SLC12A8 in certain tissues, e.g., mouse small intestine. But evidence for widespread SLC12A8 expression in humans is limited and inconsistent. These complexities mean both NR and NMN may require additional processing steps or specialized tissue conditions to efficiently reach NAD, leading to greater metabolic burden or variability in therapeutic outcomes. By contrast, niacin's simplicity offers a kind of kinetic elegance. Minimal transformation steps, predictable linear pharmacokinetics, and high oral bioavailability enable a more uniform systemic NAD boost, particularly where NAPRT is active. Another crucial aspect is metabolic waste. All NAD precursors eventually generate nicotinamide, which must be methylated or recycled. However, NR and NMN, through their salvage pathways, may generate higher transient spikes of nicotinamide in certain tissues, possibly increasing demands on methylation capacity or contributing to NAD turnover imbalances. Niacin's conversion is more gradual and spread out, potentially reducing this burden. Moreover, tissue uptake studies reveal differences in where these precursors excel. Niacin, through its Price-Handler pathway, powerfully supports liver NAD pools and systemic NAD homeostasis, correlating with its therapeutic efficacy in cardiovascular disease and systemic inflammation. NR and NMN, on the other hand, show promise in localized NAD restoration, for example, in muscles or brain, but this tissue selectivity depends on the presence of NRKs for NR or efficient transport and NMNAT activity for NMN. Thus, their superior performance may be tissue or context-dependent rather than universal. Finally, niacin's activation of the GPR109A receptor, while responsible for the characteristic flushing side effect, provides anti-inflammatory and lipid-lowering benefits not seen with NR or NMN, highlighting that niacin's simplicity is not just kinetic but also functional, offering unique therapeutic properties alongside NAD support. Altogether, while NR and NMN represent exciting advances with niche advantages, niacin's simpler, direct route to NAD can translate to greater metabolic efficiency, reduced dependency on variable transporters or enzymes, and predictable systemic effects. This simplicity is precisely what gives niacin a legitimate and often underappreciated place in NAD targeted therapies. Rather than dismissing it as outdated, understanding niacin's straightforward pharmacokinetics helps clarify its enduring value, especially for comprehensive, whole-body NAD repletion with well-established safety profiles.